Hello, viewers. This is the Dayton branded B20725, which is a rebadge of a Lasko, essentially. And if you recall in earlier videos, if you watched the channel, I was actually quite upset at the rust that has basically come up through this fan. And I do not use this fan in the rain. And secondly, I also apologize for the poor lighting conditions in here. It's if I open the garage door, I have the sun just blasting in here, and that makes it worse. And the other option I have here is a drop light, and I should have done that during my setup process. But the point is, this is a new old stock fan, and I'm not sure if that really helps the situation. This is a new, no, it doesn't. New old stock fan, and I've used it in my bedroom window as kind of a daily runner. And let's see, you can see all that rust down there. And as I documented around there, you see it all. As I documented in prior videos about the humidity really causing the situation to be what it is. So I do not want to repaint this fan. While this fan is older, from the sense that it was manufactured some time ago, it wasn't used until this year. So I'm not gonna refinish the fan. That is, I feel like it doesn't have enough hours on it. It's ridiculous. So I'm gonna experiment with you guys as kind of my witness here, and I am going to use Blaster's Surface Shield that I've used for other more of like auto projects. And we're going to see if we can just stop the rust. This is like a fail here. Why can't I find the right size? The irony is the Lasko version, just this last weekend as of this recording, I was at a friend's house with it, another enthusiast that you all know very well. And we were doing some experimenting on it. And I had the same struggle. What I hate about this is the socket's too thick because the guard is right there. You almost need a really small driver to get this off. And we're going to take a look. I might have one. Let's see here. I might get lucky, and I might have one over here. So this is a long form style video. This is not a video that we're cutting up and editing just so you can see the fun parts. As I suggest, either you hang out, listen to me ramble while I fill airtime. Oh no, while I fill airtime, or fast forward. That's all. Why can't I get this? Okay, we removed the guard. I actually ended up using just a wrench, which was the only way. 1/4 or 1/4 inch. So I noticed on the back of the guard, this is coming loose. So I got to say, I am not impressed with the build quality on this, and I am very, very, very disappointed. Man, the blades are filthy. We're going to clean it while we're here. I'm actually very disappointed in the build quality on this. While it looks like it's a rugged fan, and for all intents and purposes, it is, like, you could knock it over, you could knock it around, and it's not going to break really. But just the little details, and the conversation that we had last weekend was Lasko basically came like 90% of the way on this thing. And then when it came to really executing it, kind of missed the boat. And one argument is, even with these blades, while they are cool looking, you know, when I say they're cool looking, they're metal blades, right? They're not plastic. So that's what kind of, man, this is on there. I want this to strip because then we got bigger problems. There we go. But like this, the cabinet is rock solid. Like in terms of the actual metal itself, like it doesn't dent. But just the fact that the finish on it is just poor. And this is upsetting me how crappy this is. Just don't want the set screw to strip. Like I said, I haven't had these blades off. The Lasko, the other one I've had the blades off now, I think twice. All right, here we go. All right. Pull this off. As I said, pull this off. Oh my gosh. Pull this off. All right, well, the blades won't come off. That's awesome. Nice. How in the world? So, oh my gosh. You know, the irony is where I was last weekend, he had a flywheel or a puller. I keep saying flywheel. I'm used to working on lawnmowers with flywheel pullers. But, oh gosh. But, I can't get that off. But I'm not with that buddy today. Okay, well then, we have to think about how we're going to get this off without a puller. I mean, I can clean this. I could clean this and put the blaster on there, but I preferred to, should have taught this really, just not much rust, but I really preferred to do it with the blades off. So first off, let's stick a little sandpaper. All right, so now we got to get that. There's two ways to do this. We can use a leaf blower or we could actually take the time to set up the air compressor. I think for sake of time, I'm going to grab the leaf blower. I just want to blow that dust out. Another neat tool my friend has is like a handheld. It's like basically it's like an electric. It's like an electric. You know the bottles of compressed air. It's like an electric tool of that, and he was using it. And he uses it in his videos. And again, I probably don't even have to tell you his name because you know who he is. And you all, if you're watching me, you're watching him. Let's put it that way. And that is on my Christmas wish list. That tool that he uses. But for now, I'm gonna just set up this. And this, this is one of those projects. I thought this would be an easy project because I only had a limited amount of time this afternoon to kind of do something like this. And now it's turning out to be more of a project than I wanted it to be. Okay, so we just blew the dust out of there. Now keep in mind the set screw's not on, and that still didn't still didn't come off. All right. Yep. Okay. So I'm either going to make a bigger mess out of a situation. I just don't understand why that won't come off. If I jack up these blades, I do actually have a new in box, another set. I don't have a flywheel puller. Look at that. My buddy's going to laugh at me. Or he's basically going to say, because he hates these fans. And I understand why. I don't hate them, but. All right. Now, I don't know if you've ever used this stuff before, but basically, so what it is, blaster, surface shield, rust protectant, long lasting. Um, it's all over the place. You can find this stuff anywhere. I bought a case of it because what I do is when I get underneath my vehicles for oil changes or just when I'm cleaning them and I see spot rust or rust, like and my cars aren't rusty, but what I'm saying is if you start to see a little bit of surface rust and you don't want it to spread or whatever, you just nail it with this stuff, or you just hit the metal surfaces. All right, so that is that. Now we're going to fix this guard here. Now again, I could be making a potential giant mess doing this. I don't think I am. Like, I don't think the blades are going to throw around the surface shield. Okay, so this you can see, as we talked about, it's just a Phillips head screwdriver. And these are build quality things too. It's not even a big deal, but it's just it's disappointing is really what it is. Ooh, I wonder if that would fit. No, that's the one I used. It's just disappointing, and just when you think that they're making something like good again for a second, they're not. Okay, I almost have this. Actually, no, I don't. It's just stripped out. Oh, there we go. I think I got it. Yeah, so the plastic, see, there's a hole here that lines up, and I could feel it snap in. But when I tighten down, it just spins and spins and spins because you're going into plastic. And I mean, I like the idea that they have a badge that kind of like bolts in, but I don't like the idea that it strips out like they did it. Like, this is perfect example of they get 90% of the way there with something and they just can't finish the job. Yeah, it's lined up. Garbage. Ooh, I heard it snap in place again. But again, spin, spin, spin. So what must have happened is this must have just vibrated out. And I only have let's see. So I got this fan new old stock in February-ish. Yeah, I just can't get it back together again. It's not going to go. So what we'll do is make sure the other side's nice and snug, not overly tight. Yeah, the other side's a little loose, and it won't get any tighter. So what's going to happen is the other side's going to give way, and the guard's going to, or this is going to fall off. I really like the design. I really like the design of this, but it won't stay on. What's the point? All right, so we're going to do a quick clean job. Now, this is a ball bearing motor, so there's no oiling, there's no sleeve bearing to deal with. Now, so this one I have, when it's been in the window, the struts that the motor is mounted to always kind of looked a little concave to me, like kind of coming in our direction. And I just thought, maybe this manufacturing defect. Well, last weekend when we had the Lasko version of this, we noticed the same thing. And we were wondering if it was damaged in some way, shape, or form. So right now, this thing, in my mind, gets an F. It gets an F for quality. Like, I shouldn't have run into this until like 10 years of service. Yeah, like even the sticker, like the badging in the front is starting to fade. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to run this. I'm just going to continue to run it and see what happens. There we go. It's a lot of dust for just since February. I mean, I haven't really used it since about a month or so, but at least the guard's not rusting because that's very common on the McGraw Edisons. So let's kind of review here. Getting the guard off is a pain. While I like that it doesn't have regular screws like the regular Laskos do. Oh, that looks much better. But, oh yeah, that looks really good. But the heads of the bolts are so close to the metal here. You have to use a open-ended wrench. All right, so we're gonna get the blades next, despite not being able to get them off. Now, reminder, we have to put the set screw back on just in case it does decide to break itself loose. This is totally ridiculous. Normally, I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to cleaning up the fans and everything, but I'm like almost resentful here, and I'm not really, because I want to get these blades off. It's like they're oxidizing. That's so strange. What I did order, and I would use next time, so when I go to get these blades off, I'm going to do it, is I have picked up the tip, and you've probably seen him use it in his videos. I've seen it firsthand and face to face, is the melamine foam. I have someone order. It should be either here in a pile of boxes because I've been traveling for work, so I haven't gone through that yet because I wanted to knock this. I was hoping to knock this off, but instead it's knocking me off. So it's ridiculous. I just can't take this off. So we did an experiment last weekend with the Lasko counterpart and put more like the oval shaped metal blades from the Lakewood or Lasko HV fan, and they were black pedal style, not pedal, but the oval style blades. Wow, they look way better. And secondly, they performed better, and they were quieter. They were more like a P25. All right. As good as I'm going to say it's going to be. These blades are not good quality. Like they're oxidizing. I bet you that melamine foam would really help. So it'll be very interesting how this is coded on here for the future. But I am going to continue with this as my daily runner, or for the warm summer months, and just see how that all plays out. So all the dust is going to be on this side. So I'm not going to remove the grill. Again, this is kind of one season's worth of dirt on it. It's not even a lot. Yeah, the guard, the quality of the actual guard itself is good. As I started to say before, as I interrupted myself, which seems to be the case, is so let's review these are a pain. That's one. The the rust, that's the biggie. That's two. The badge falling off, that's three. And then four would be the blades. And I have no idea why I can't get them off. I do overall think it's a handsome fan, and it is an excellent concept. Excellent, excellent concept. But again, just poorly executed. Basically, I was looking for a box fan that I could run in my bedroom, because my bedroom, probably out of all the fans, is the one that gets used the most, because I just like leave it on. I see the rust even coming through down here. I just leave it on. Leave it on. And in the window, that is. Leave it on unless it's raining, and I turn it off, take it out of the window. And if I'm going to be out of town, or if I'm going to be gone for the day and I think it may rain, I take it out of the window. When I was young, I used to like think it was funny, not funny, but I guess kind of funny, that I would leave them in the window, and I didn't care because they were on exhaust. So I felt like the air going out would protect the fan and the motor, because the hub, it's not getting wet because of the hub. But that was not the case. So I don't do that anymore. Okay, we're gonna put the set screw back in. Find it. Here it is. Some dust in there. We can hit that. Just garbage quality, I tell you. You would think because why can't I get the screw in? You would think because I'm dealing with like metal, but I hate to say it, this is not a P23. All right. Like this even feels, yeah, trash. All right, we got the blade set, or the W set, whatever you want to call it, back on. set screw. Some paper towel remnants on this. Okay, we will get this on. I'm gonna lay the fan down. I find that's easier for me to do, maybe less enjoyable for you to see, as the blaster is flammable blaster is up against the drop light. Now I keep an LED in the drop light because like literally you can drop it, and I used to have an incandescent in there until I probably bumped it or something and it just went. So that seems to actually work out pretty well. All right, so we're gonna put this in, and feel free to fast forward if you don't want to see this. It's okay. I wonder, I'm gonna have to come up with something creative to keep that badge on there. So this now is almost, this fan, unfortunately, why I really thought that this fan was going to be like my almost forever runner in my room, like my daily runner, just because it was rugged and it was just ball bearing, you know, just on paper, it all made sense. I thought, all right, I got a fan I can just run into oblivion, and I will just, you know, do the maintenance on it, right? But now the game really is, how long can I get it to run? Like, is it gonna just be a piece of junk? We'll see. What would be an interesting comparison is, you know, I have a 3733 hanging from the ceiling in here, which I've shown you guys before. Is, will a 3733 outlast this? Did I just, is that blasphemy? And really, I was going to go with the Air King. What is that? The 9723, I think. I was going to go with the Air King as kind of like my daily, if you will. Sound like I'm talking about my cars. I was going to go a 9723 with the blade swap on it as my daily, or even, you know, whatever, keep the plastic blades. And then these, which I've been like chasing after for years, as I've talked about, popped up, and I was like, all right, we'll cancel that idea out. I'm going to go this way. Where'd that screw go? Oh boy. Did we lose one? We might have. Let's see. Well, let's just do the rest here. See what pops up. Okay, that's fine. I'm using these little wrenches because that's all I got. Again, fast forward. This is tedious, but it's kind of making a point that, for example, like if I know on a McGraw Edison comfort fan or even a thin and light, the plastic guards use, you know, you need a socket wrench to get them off. It takes 2 seconds, good quality. And that's, you're dealing with a plastic guard at that point. Yeah, see, in order to get this on, you got to, I heard that screw. In order to get that on, you got to like scuff up the paint. It's just a crap design. Oh man, Lasko, you came so close. Now I kind of understand why these were discontinued. Now, to the average person, you see this, you're like, oh, it looks rugged, it looks good. Yeah, I'm going to pay the $50 that they were asking for this, and I'm going to put it in my garage. I'm going to put it in my whatever, my shop. It's good. It's a box fan, and so I guess it seems good, but I'm curious, like what the fail point. Well, I'm learning what the fail points on them are, and clearly people don't take care of them the way I do. And so imagine how rusty that thing would be. Like they would probably just let it rust out. And the other one, the Lasko, when we were messing with it last weekend, the ball bearings don't sound that great in it. Now that one I use in the basement as kind of like a, if I open up the bulkhead, okay, that's on there. If I open up the bulkhead, I'll use it to bring the fresh air in from outside. And it's in a very dry environment because the dehumidifier is on down there. Okay, so now I have to find that screw, which I don't need to bore you with that. Okay, we got it. It looks so wet in there from the spray. It reminds me, so I had a 2006 Lincoln Town Car. I owned it for 14 years. And what got to it was rust. Despite me being just a fiend about keeping my cars clean, what happened was it went from being a daily driver to not a daily driver. And I don't drive it in the snow. I didn't drive it in the snow and stuff like that after I retired it from being a daily. But I think what happened was when it seemed decent outside, I would take it out, drive it. But even in the wintertime, that stuff is still on the road. You might not even really be able to see it. And the body of the car looked clean, but underneath that stuff was just sitting there, even if it was just a little bit at a time. And it just ate the thing out, ate the rockers out, and it ate the mounts to my air suspension right off the differential, because the mounts to the air suspensions on the differential, those mounts were gone. So the only way to replace the air suspension was either switch to the coil or springs, or find a differential at the junkyard. So I it broke my heart because I owned that car since I had 30,000 miles on it, ran it up to close to 160, not a ton compared to what I've done with other vehicles. And people used to comment like, "This car, it seems like it has 30,000 miles on it, And yeah, so that ultimately didn't go well. So I had it towards the end of its life. My point being, I had it towards the end of its life, one of those oil coating services done locally, and I remember it was like dripping oil underneath it. So I parked it on the grass for the first couple of weeks or whatever, and my only regret was I didn't do it sooner. All right, so let's see if this thing throws off. Oil. So this is the low speed. These are loud, right? Now, I know I was talking about negative things with this fan, but the noise actually doesn't bother me that much. And I do think this is a good looking fan. Like when it's performing like this, I think it does look good. There's not much of a difference between a medium. See? Yeah, I know I have. There's your high. You see that? Yeah, the bearings in this one sound fine. So as I work through using these fans and bring you guys with me through the journey, you're really starting to see what these things were made of, because I don't think anyone really, there's one guy out there who has a channel who had one of these. He's had it for over 10 years. He did a video when he first got it, and I bugged him, and he did because I found his video and I bugged him in the comments, and he did a update video 10 years later, and it seemed to be performing as it did in the first video, which is kind of cool and got me really excited. It was before I owned these fans. And then now that I'm working with them and using them, I'm realizing they have their limitations, which is you don't want to really use them. Well, you're not supposed to technically use them in a window, and I think inadvertently, but if people follow that instruction and not use them in the window, they won't rust because they're not subjecting themselves to cranking the humid air in and out of the house, right? Therefore, they don't rust because his was not rusty. And the Lasko one that I have that's in the basement and then we took for testing last weekend to my friends, that one definitely had hours on it because the bearing, you could hear the bearings a little bit, and it just had some hours on it. Not crazy hours, but definitely hours. But it would definitely didn't have any rust on it. It's in really good shape. It was dusty when I originally got it, and I just cleaned it up. So let me know what you think in the comments. And if I had it to do over again, I wouldn't have bought 3 of them, right? I might have just bought one to play with, and that's it. So I have the 3. 2 are kind of, this one's being used. Like I'm gonna just beat the heck out of this one. I mean, I'm gonna take care of it, but like I'm gonna use it. That's what I mean by beat the heck out of it. The Lasko one that's in the basement, that's just like, again, it'll get very little use. Let some fresh air in when I'm working down there in the summer. Eddie's using the weights down there, put some air in them. It's kind of like in an industrial situation being in the basement. And then I have one that I'm never going to use. I'm going to just keep it. It goes with my 1P25. Just won't get used. But that being said, I feel like I have 1 or maybe 2 too many of these now. But that's how you learn, and that's how you share with others. All right, thanks for watching. And if you haven't, I really, really, really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Certainly trying to grow the channel, get more eyes on these videos so we can do even more of these projects because they're certainly fun to do and I get a lot of requests. And we'll see you on the next one.